Welcome to Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. I'm so glad you've joined us today. We have a really special guest. Police Chief of Santa Barbara, California, Lori Luhnow is with us. She's had an amazing story, actually kind of a difficult road, but she's learned a lot of great lessons, and she's a great person. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Lori Luhnow, The Good Life is next. Welcome to Good Life. I'm Dean Wilson. I'm so glad you joined us today. And you can always go to goodlifetelevision.org if you want to see all the interviews. All the interviews are there, and we'd love to have you join us there. I have a special guest today, our police chief here in Santa Barbara, California. Lori Luhnow is with me. Welcome,
Dean.
Chief.
Thank you.
Should I call you Chief?
Yeah, you can call me Lori, but if you prefer to call me Chief.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for coming.
Of course, thanks for having me.
We're going to get to this kind of crazy year in the pandemic a little bit, but I wanted to just talk about you, kind of where you're from and kind of your background. I will tell the guests that you were born and raised in San Juan Capistrano, spent 27 years on the San Diego Police Department before taking this job. Did you always want to go into law enforcement? Was that a thought? I know you were an athlete, but was that kind of the path you always wanted to take?
Actually, no. I went down to college at UC San Diego, played volleyball, that's all I knew, and fortunately got a degree in the process. And like most college graduates, you graduate and you kind of go, oh wow, what now? Right. And I have an identical twin sister, and she was going through a Fish and Game Police Academy for the state here, and we were both super competitive and athletic, and I was hearing about her challenges. And so I literally looked into the police department with the thought of the worst thing I could say if it didn't work out is I was a cop. Right. So I jumped into a process that took about 9 months. The next thing you know, I'm in the police academy, and that's going to be 32 years this December coming up.
Wow. What's the police academy like?
You know, I tell all athletes, former athletes, that it fits those personalities. It's super competitive, but the camaraderie's there, the team element, the community, if you will. And right. People are there because they want to serve, they want to give back, and just there's tons of complexities with it, and laws and education and training, and it's 6 months. Is
it really?
It is, and it's pretty hard to get through just the aspect of sitting down and in a classroom and learning, right. But the practical sides of it, I think, stimulate you in different ways throughout the day to get through it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to this than probably the average person thinks of. I mean, if you think about if I'm thinking about it right now, the training, the different scenarios that you encounter as a police officer, I mean, it must just be all over the map.
Absolutely.
I mean, so you have to kind of be prepared and trained for almost anything.
You know, I summarize it to a lot of people, especially our new recruits and hires. You're trained for the unexpected, right. Which means right. You have to rely on those basic skills that you learn and the confidence that we give you some, but you're never going to know it all. You're constantly learning. More importantly, you need to know where to go to get the help. But, you know, those big things like understanding people's civil rights and basic laws that infringe right. upon those are the basics that get you started. But then you look at what happens, and we've seen it in my career, social services kind of let us down in ways with not providing what they used to, and those things fall on our plate. So it's a industry, people call it law enforcement, but that's only one aspect of policing. Right. We deal with the opioid crisis, and obviously our homeless population. So when you break down what we do in Santa Barbara, more of what we respond to are non-criminal calls.
Yeah, I bet. Well, they call you for everything.
Absolutely. Well, you think about it, we're the only ones that respond 7/24.
Right.
And that's a gift. We're entrusted by the community with just a social contract to do that, so we have to do it right, but it is certainly a challenge.
I've talked to a friend of mine, Mike McGrew, about this a little bit, about taking stuff home. Like, how do you do this job and see what you see, deal with what you deal with, the trauma, people don't call the 911 because things are going well.
Right.
It's a crisis, it's an emergency, it's a fight, and so I still marvel at how police officers can do this job and go home and have a somewhat normal life, because there's just got to be so much that you take on.
Definitely, and I think that's true for everybody. We learn that we all have had traumas in our childhood, and that's the starting point, and everybody is different. So each incident layers on that. So how people handle it is basically up to them. We provide the resources. One of the things I'm super proud of is being able to allocate resources to a specific wellness unit. So wellness means many things. We have a super kind community that helped us get our At Ease program started,
Right.
which is our counseling,
Yes.
free of cost to all of our officers and their family members, and it has grown to be afforded to our firefighters and ER staff. And everybody knows the incidents we've had here.
Right.
It's been critical. But beyond that, financial counseling, our foundation has some resources to help with some of those things. We entered a partnership with Cottage Hospital for some nutrition counseling. We have a meal service that brings
Really?
healthy, nutritious meals to the department for employees who want to sign up for it.
Wow.
So I think it's recognizing it is a lot of factors, and a lot of what people deal with is in their home as well. So it's not just the work. So I think breaking the stigma that this is something abnormal is one of the best ways to deal with it.
Right.
And we're constantly looking for ways to improve.
And I think the community needs to constantly be looking for ways to help. I mean, or in my opinion, I mean, thinking about At Ease as an organization, but just thinking about ways in which the community can serve those who serve. I mean, honoring and serving the public servants seems like a important thing.
Especially right now, it
Yes.
goes far.
Right.
Our people sign up to serve,
Yeah.
and that's what's in their heart, that's what's in their mind.
Yep.
So it needs to be fueled somehow. And obviously, we get a narrative that is spread across the nation, and we keep reminding people, look at us locally.
Right.
Don't judge us or evaluate us by what you see. We hire good people. It's a really comprehensive effort to get somebody through our hiring process.
Right.
We invest in them, and what makes us successful is when our community invests in us as well.
Yeah.
We want to be better. We want to serve the community. So help us get there.
Yeah.
And one of the things I started trying to shift the narrative to from the beginning is consider us part of the community. A lot of people like to talk about the police departments being separate from the community, but we're really not.
Right.
We are here to be with the community
Yeah.
and serve the community.
Neighbors and
Absolutely.
Right. You took the chief job in 2016, and it hasn't been a boring 4 years, probably. What has it been like to kind of jump into the fire with literally and fires, floods, lots of complicating situations? How has it been for you the first 4 years?
I want to say my experience in San Diego was relevant in a lot of ways because we had some of the similar things happen. From a leadership perspective, you have an understanding of how it works, but it's been really nice for me to see the relationships pay off, the relationships with our public safety entities in the county, and how our people respond because of the support we do have with the community or the commitment we have to serve the community. So like anything, you take it a day at a time. Crisis, I think, shows your leadership cracks, but it also shows when people are really doing a great thing. And we have seen that. I've been super happy to see how we perform and respond. And frankly, it's healthy for our organization to be tested in that way. Not to say we want those incidents,
Right.
but it reaffirms our training or identifies opportunities to get better. And I've been certainly happy with that.
You've been here 4 years. What do you like about this community, other than all the natural disasters that we've had? What do you like about this area?
So I've told people from the beginning, and not to disrespect another city, but if San Bernardino called me and told me they wanted me to put in for the police chief, it wouldn't have been the same reaction as Santa Barbara.
Right.
I'm a beach girl, so I will say I love beach communities, so that's the starting point. But as I've seen, this is such a resilient community, and when it matters, they step up. And that's what it takes. I'm a firm believer that love conquers all, and that's what it displays to me.
Right.
They have wrapped their arms around the people that need it the most.
Yeah.
And I mentioned our At Ease program. That was generated from our foundation, which is a community organization that recognized we could benefit from this. So every single year, they're advocating to generate funding so that our officers have resources in a way that works for us. And when I say that, it's our officers don't want to go to a city resource and raise their hand and admit to what they think is being weak, or to ask for help. So to take it completely out of the bureaucracy and city government provides a level of safety.
Right.
So what I love is, what I see is this community feels safe supporting, but also safe in asking for the help as well.
Yeah, that's such a powerful thought. I mean, it's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
And I think, and even for police officers.
Absolutely.
But if you, from what I understand, kind of the typical model is if you share you're struggling, it could be, okay, well, give me your gun and your badge and we'll talk to you in a little while. I mean, at least that's kind of my understanding of what kind of it has been.
Right.
Whereas this is a totally different thing. I mean, this is completely, like you said, outside of the bureaucracy where it's okay to not be okay.
Right. And normalizing any of those old stigmas helps us all. So I enjoy creating a safe environment and try to emulate that. We all have personal struggles. We don't get out without them. Some of us get more than others, and it may be a timing thing, but I think it's powerful to share those struggles in whatever way somebody's comfortable with, because you're planting a seed. And I don't mind sharing, have had thyroid cancer, and it's something I still am challenged with. But I acknowledged it from a leadership perspective when I was in San Diego, and it was a conscious thought. Do I share this or do I not? And I recognized I'm going to be a little weaker. This is when I rely on people around me. They need to step up, and they need to know I trust them to do that.
Yeah.
But what's come from that is literally 4 other people within that organization that was bigger than Santa Barbara, have reached out to me going through the same challenges. So I feel really good about sharing that and seeing the impact of at least letting people reach out and find some comfort in.
Well, and as a leader, when you do that, I mean, safety, you're saying it's safe to be real in a sense and authentic, which makes everybody else probably change their perspective, I would think.
I hope so. And my belief is there's a few things everybody searches for in a career and in life, and being authentic is definitely one of those. I think being competent at what you do and feeling that, but also being a part of a group or a common bond, which is, I think, why policing is so strong and something that has attracted me, and I still advocate for it. It fills in a lot of needs when you break down most of our human needs.
Right, that's true.
It's a wonderful opportunity if somebody's interested or willing to take that challenge on.
Yeah, and we want our young people to consider public service as a career path. I mean, because we want the good ones too. I mean, we want aspiring young people to consider this profession, because the word I use the most is noble. I mean, it's a noble profession, and to be willing to put your life on the line every single day is just something that 98% of the population doesn't have to do. And I just think there's something so powerful about it. You know, I've been interested in leadership for a long time, and what you're talking about is so points to something that I've learned and am trying to live. which is scared people show you their worst. People who feel scared show you their worst. People who feel safe show you their best, which I think is a interesting concept as a leader, to want to create a safe place. Why? Because people are going to be their best in that environment.
Absolutely. If people are afraid, they don't want to admit it. They don't want to point out what they view as a weakness or something that needs correcting. So when you look at an organization down from a simple level to something extreme, I mean, you look at the Challenger disaster, that group think. You need people to be leaders, and we trust people that come out at a relatively young age to patrol the streets, and we need to reinforce that very, I think, broad point that you're in charge of your police car and every single contact and keeping people safe. So, you need to lean into it, and we're here to trust you. We're here to make you better if there's something we're not providing, but we just need to know about it.
It must be a challenge, I guess, a challenge and an opportunity to have 208 people on your team, staff, that you're thinking about. I mean, responsible for, thinking about, caring about. That's a big job.
It is a big job, especially when you're dealing with some of your own issues and, and losses and challenges. So, and that's why I think putting policy, programs, structure in place, trying to cultivate a culture that fits that. Everybody says it takes 3 to 5 years to change a culture, and I say definitely that's it. I was hoping it was quicker, but every person we hire is an opportunity. Every person I promote is an opportunity. So I think I'm super proud of what we've done in the last 4 years.
Yeah, well, we're so grateful. You've had a passion for health in your life. You've been an athlete. You were 3-time Division III national champion, by the way. I'll mention that.
Yes.
In volleyball.
Yes.
So you had an interest. You've had an interest in health kind of your whole life. I mean, has that been something that's been?
So yes, that's definitely correct. But it came out of being my mother was a single mom. She had a husband who died when she had her first 4 kids, which are my half brothers and sisters. Met my father, who died when I was 5 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So super strong woman, but she had to work hard to obviously provide. So I had no adult supervision growing up.
Oh
and
my gosh.
What I did have, and I feel super blessed to, looking back, to have the beach about 3 miles away. And
you were raised by the beach.
My twin sister and I and our friends would ride our bicycle down, and that was my safety net. That's where I learned to play beach volleyball. I started to get into athletics more so there than anything else.
Wow.
And now there's no looking back. It is such a part of me that I can never let go.
Yeah, I hear it. I kind of mentioned this before, but I want to go back to just to be clear. So, as a community who's interested, community members who are interested in serving, blessing, encouraging, however you want to say, the police department, I'd be open to any ideas, but can people give to the foundation? Is that, or I mean, I know they can give to At Ease, but those are probably really practical ways people could, if they say, hey, we care about our police department, these are tough times, we want to do something. What could they do?
Absolutely. If they want to make monetary donations, we definitely point them to our police foundation, which is the umbrella organization for our At Ease program. So that helps our counseling programs.
Yes.
But these days, I like to encourage people to even just tell each and every officer thank you or hello, you appreciate what they do, because that encouragement goes a long way.
Yeah.
I think reminding our elected officials of that fact is also something that goes far, because it's a unique situation and it's really hard for some people to speak up with the support that they display to us, and I recognize it's there's a lot of challenges with that for some people wanting to speak out, but emails, letters, we've been I'll use the word blessed because I've used it, you've used it, and that's really what it is. We've been blessed to see so many people want to step up, and they've provided meals at the department, just random acts of kindness that
Wow.
really are getting us through some tough times.
Yeah, good. That's great. What would you say, we only have a couple minutes left, but what would you say to young people who might be considering this profession or are thinking about what they want to do? What would you say to them about this road you've been on?
As you stated, I would like them to still consider it a noble profession, even though there's a lot of negativity right now, and recognize we are defined as peace officers first, and really a part of changing any future or something they don't like is being a part of that. So be the police officer you think you want to be or you want to see.
Right.
So don't dismiss the profession because it doesn't look like something that you want to be, but recognize you have a lot of autonomy to be the cop with the good heart, the solid mind that is there to police compassionately.
Right. Yeah. And just lastly, I mean, on that note, because I don't know, somebody wants to become a police officer, they want to and go to the academy. How do they do that?
You know, most agencies hire their recruits for the police academy. There's an opportunity. We sponsor them. So go to police department's websites, go to ours, and look for the next testing date. It starts with a written test. It's usually about a 6-month process that is the written, the physical, agility, background. We go through interviews, and then we hire you as a recruit, and we are paying you while you go through the police academy.
I see.
Because it's almost impossible for somebody to put themselves through a 6-month academy
Right.
and support themselves.
Right. So you join you kind of get the job first, in essence.
Yes. However, there are ways to pay for your own way and be sponsored on your own and go through, most academies work through partnerships with community colleges.
Okay.
And you can do it that way.
That's wonderful. Well, we're out of time. I didn't get to everything, but I want to say, I mean, you've been here for 4 years. I didn't know about, I mean, you've experienced a lot of loss in your life. I mean, from an early age.
Right.
And from the loss to cancer to all the natural disasters and difficulties that have been thrown at you, I'm kind of amazed you're standing so great.
So, you know, I have to say my mom was wonderful. My mom was that pillar of resiliency, but I think all of us learn, you know, when things happen and you start questioning why, you can't answer that. So you have to lean into, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Right.
And I feel that my heart is more open than it's ever been.
Oh, that's so good. You know, I posted something on the Instagram the other day saying that. I said, you know, pain, you know, there's the word sanctified, but, you know, pain can make you tender. It's an amazing thing, even for a police chief.
Well, you know what, frankly, I feel that I've been so hurt that nothing can hurt me as bad as what I've already gone through.
Isn't that amazing?
So the power of that is very freeing.
Oh, that's so good.
Maybe it's age too. I don't know.
This is so good. Thank you so much for your service. We're so glad you're here, and we're going to be friends.
We are friends, Dean.
We are friends.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.